Hello and a very warm welcome viewers. You're watching the brand new edition of India Fights Back with your host Kriti Mishra. Viruses constantly change through mutations, and new variants of a virus are expected to occur. Sometimes new variants emerge and disappear, and there are instances when these new variants persist. Multiple variants of the virus that causes COVID-19 have been documented in India and globally during this pandemic. Viruses constantly change and become more diverse. Scientists monitor these changes, including changes to the spikes on the surface of the virus. By carefully studying viruses, scientists can learn how changes to the virus might affect or how it spreads and how sick people will get from it. And to understand these emerging variations, I'm joined by very eminent guests on the panel. Joining us today, Professor N.K. Ganguly, former Director General, Indian Council of Medical Research, and Dr. B.L. Sherwal, Director, Rajiv Gandhi Superspeciality Hospital, New Delhi. Welcome to Sunset TV, both of you. And Professor Ganguly, coming to you first, health experts have called for strong surveillance on 4 emerging coronavirus variants apart from the Delta Plus strain, which has already been designated as a variant of concern. Your thoughts and opening comments, sir, on these constant and emerging variations?
Actually, this particular virus has a gene editing mechanism. It doesn't mutate so easily. But the problem is that it has got to so many hosts in so many continents that it mutates, and some of the mutations die down and some of the mutations remain. From the India's point of view, the 3 mutations which have become very, very important are 617.1, 617.2, which is the Delta variant, and one more mutation on this, which is known as AY.1, which is the Delta Plus variant, and 617.3, which is the third variant, in which 14 mutations have occurred, and people are watching this. So these mutations have somehow or other stayed. And previously, the Delta and Delta variant and Delta Plus was confined to 16 nations, which were in the southern, western, and central part of India. Now they have reached Chandigarh, they have reached northern part of India, and the cases have been reported from the Delta Plus. The Delta variant has at the moment gone to nearly 90 countries, and Delta Plus has gone to 19 countries. So this is very, very alarming. That this variant has stayed and this variant has spread. The surveillance which you said is very, very important for this. In India, we have done only 25,000 sequences in our consortium. In Britain alone, they have done more than 6.5 lakhs of sequencing, and very smart and clever sequencing of contact tracing, which our Prime Minister said, as well as finding out that how they are spreading and where they are spreading, to whom they are spreading. And he said that we need to enhance this. So this is something which we need to really work on to really find out better meaning out of this. So in this Delta Plus variant, there are two new, the Delta variant we now know quite a bit of things. Delta Plus variant, two new characteristics have been observed, that it binds to lung much more efficiently. It also doesn't get neutralized efficiently by the Regeneron antibodies. And even now, Eli Lilly antibody results are also there. It doesn't get so nicely neutralized. So that shows an alarm. So at this given moment, there has been a discussion in WHO, and they said that vaccination, although works, Delta Plus variant vaccination works for 40%. Delta variant vaccination with our AstraZeneca vaccine works 60%, and the Pfizer works for 80%, and Moderna works for 80%. Johnson & Johnson, we don't have the data. How much does it work? So there is a shortened vaccine protection in the Delta variant and much more lesser protection in the Delta Plus variant. In these circumstances, one of the major recommendation which has come is that you need to do masking, because in United States a lot of people, the CDC has removed masking as a requirement, and it has spread in 5 states. The Delta variant has spread in United States, and it has caused surge which doesn't match with the rest of the United States, and so this has become a very, very important part of masking. The second part, which we should be of concern, that Russia, which has vaccinated almost majority of its population, this surge is really alarming there with the Delta variant, and Delta Plus is also there, but we have lesser data in Delta Plus. In the same way, the Israel and Australia, who had controlled it, they also have got surge for this, and UK has got surge for this, and now Germany has surge with this Delta virus. So these states are already vaccinated, and in these vaccinated states, if you are not really taking appropriate precautions, they are getting surges in these. So future, what we need to do, I will discuss when I come in the second round. But in this round, one very clear recommendation from WHO as well as from the Russia and Russian scientists have come, that you do, in addition, you have to do masking. So what I will suggest is that many people are ending lockdown as nothing has happened kind of an attitude.
Yeah.
We need to stay 2 more months with the lockdown.
Absolutely. And as you said, sir, that masking is non negotiable. But Dr. Sherwal, I'd just like to understand, why are these new variants so worrisome? Are they more contagious? Are they more transmissible? What is the data telling us?
Yes, as Dr. Ganguly has just said regarding the masking, so it is along with the vaccination, we need to wear the mask, definitely, there is no negotiation. And now coming to the 4 variant, which we are talking about, the Delta, and which you have seen during the second wave, how contagious and how severe it was. And now we are only basically for the Delta Plus, and there are also concern of other variant like Kappa and Lambda. There are reports that in many countries it has been reported. And as far as the variant of concern is Delta Plus or AY1. So that is the major concern in not only in India, but in most of the world. We have seen that Delta Plus has been found, and now, as Dr. Ganguly has told, already 19 countries it has reached, and so we need to take action proactively. As you might have seen that there are the Delta Plus variant was reported first time in India from a sample taken on 5th of April. So, now we know that in the area like Kolhapur, there are certain cases have been found, and in coming days, you will see that more and more active measure has to be taken by the states and by the country. So the concern is, until unless we proactively do the containment of the area where we are finding the Delta Plus cases. So there are chances that if we are not able to contain, then Delta Plus will be a worry, not only for India, but also for other countries. Now the air flights will be opening, and so there will be no stoppage of the people coming from one country to another country.
Exactly.
So actually we have to do it in phases and cautiously, and we have to take all measures that the genome sequencing has to be increased, and along with the testing of the samples, until unless we trace by increasing the genome sequencing, we will not be able to find. Now we are saying that there are more than 50 cases in India. Now there may be large number of cases because we have not tested. Uh, you know, as Dr. Ganguly has just said that only 25,000 sample has been tested. So we need to do genome sequencing at quite a phase, and we should increase it and include more and more cases at different places, so that containment can be done at proactive and as soon as possible, so that it should not spread from one area to another.
All right, Dr. Sherwal, you made a very important point about international travel and people traveling from one place to the other. Let me take that to Professor Ganguly. Professor Ganguly, experts fear that opening up of international air travel may bring a cocktail of new variants. Do you agree, sir?
Yeah, actually I agree, because this is known as hazard index. Hazard index means that when you travel from one country to another country, and when you travel within your own country from one region to another, hazard index increases, and the mutation also, chances of mutation also increases, because when China actually locked down very severely, the L variant which was in China, this almost disappeared because they didn't allow even a flight to enter. So international travel is one of the mode in which viruses spread around the world, because there are asymptomatic people who also spread this, and it is very difficult to really look at every port, every available mode of people traveling from one part to other. Like India, huge number of people from our neighboring countries pass by the road, by unconventional means, and so they will also bring viruses. So international travel and border controls need to be spruced up. There is some more methods which are now coming up. These methods are like this, that they now the airlines have created a kind of a vapor which takes about an hour after, even when the passengers have taken their seat. It takes about an hour and a half. So every airline runs late now from their time. This is not, this is done on empty aircraft, and it is done again when passengers have got seated there. And some of the airlines like Qatar, etc., doing this, and they are claiming that they are destroying viruses very effectively in the environment. Then in India now, the sanitized has replica has been now made, and they have applied for a license. So this, in addition to masking, this kind of products will be very, very useful. 2 points which you had asked, I want to emphasize over there, that one of the points that this is very, very transmissible. Delta plus is very, Delta variant itself is transmissible very strongly. In US, it multiplied to double within a week and a half in the areas where it was prevalent. In the same fashion, it has happened in the Russia and some of the other nations. And Delta plus is much more, about another 60 times more transmissible than the other variant. In our country, we are not getting too much data, but looking at the data from abroad, we have seen that all the people who have died out of the Delta variants were not vaccinated. None of the vaccinated person died with the Delta variant if they had a vaccine. So at least the death could be prevented. You may not prevent infection entirely, but death could be prevented, and severe hospitalization could also be prevented. So this is something very, very good. So we need to now, what we need to do is very important. There are about 50 things which we need to do, but I will not really talk about those 50 things because that is outside the scope of today's discussion. But one of the things I have already talked about masking. Another thing is that creating an appropriate surveillance on which we can base that what will be the future vaccine about an year's end, because many people we are seeing are not making good antibodies after
Right.
vaccination, particularly these are older people, and there will be boosters which will be needed, and people have prepared these boosters are now
Yes.
available. So these boosters need to go in trial in India, even if they have to be imported. The second thing which we need to do is that the two vaccines, India vaccines have also got children's data, the Zydus Cadila
Yes.
as well as the Covaxin, and we need to really immunize those children so that the children are also big spreader, so they are not able to spread it. And
Yes,
we
sir.
need to alter the behavior alternation is very difficult, and that is why Prime Minister said that involved NGOs work with the communities, and NGOs also have many social behavioral scientists with them. Behavior and government should at least have patience in 2 months in the different states and smartly unlock so that people don't
Yes,
lose
sir.
their jobs, but they maintain behavior and they don't go in very big haste to unlock, because I don't see that get a we should get a third wave and lock again, because
Yes, sir.
it is very traumatic to come back. So please have at least patience for 2.5 months more. So unlock very smartly and gradually. Even if you don't have a very high infection, you may have it another 7 days or 10 days after. So be very cautious.
Absolutely, sir. So you're making a very strong case for maintaining lives and livelihoods. But since we are talking about our strategy, Dr. Sherwal, which is test, treat, and vaccinate, I'd also like to understand that do you think these mutations can escape the existing treatment methods or testing methods?
Yeah, basically, when we talk about the variant, uh, these are different properties actually. So one is we are talking about when they become more contagious, they can become cause the more serious disease. Along with that, when we have to find testing technology, sometimes we can see that they can escape the mm, available testing tools, and sometimes even they can escape the immune system antibodies which has been there, or even against the vaccines. So these depends on the mutations, and like delta plus has this capacity to escape the immunity which should have been there after the vaccination. So, but somehow, as far as the testing is concerned, we need to modify our test. We need to modify our vaccines available as and when we are getting different variant. And depending on that, Dr. Bhargav has issued a statement, I think yesterday, that they have already cultured the virus, and they are going to understand, and if there is need any additions in the testing or in the vaccines, that will be done. So first we need to understand the virus, and we need to see the characteristic of the virus, and then find out whether which are the antibodies, whether it is able to neutralize by the antibodies against the COVID, which we have the cocktail or the other antibodies. So that is very important. So now we need more and more data for this. As of now, we don't have much data against whether they escape the test, but most of the tests which are available, whether they are rapid tests, whether they are RT-PCR testing, most of the variant are being detected. Now, the sensitivity of each test is a question mark. That will depend. So we have seen in the second wave also, some patients was showing typical symptoms of the COVID. But when they were sent for the laboratory testing, they were found to be negative. Now, in the second wave, CT scan has come to an aid for diagnosing, and so we need to have an alternative method of diagnosis, and we need to upgrade our testing, and we need to upgrade our this thing, RT-PCR testing, and I think we will with the time with all the variant, these things are well known to the scientists, and they take the stock of this, and they will be doing as and when appropriate data will be there.
All right, sir. So we have to be constantly, we have to devise new methods, as you said. We have to be very, very dynamic in our approach. But it's time for closing comments from both my guests. Professor Ganguly, third wave, new variants, new mutations, emerging variants. What are your thoughts, sir?
I will just expand two things. Dr. Sherwal said about maybe we may need new tests. We may need new tests. We now know that some of the cases may escape with the current primers which we are using. So it's not very difficult. The same test should be done. Only the primers have to be designed and changed according to the variant. And once one variant is predominant, you can use that primer. And for that, you may not need a sequencing. The sequencing can be done for other mutations. Two parting shots. One is this, that you asked one question which has not been answered as yet, that what about the foreign travels of Indians? Indians are in trouble now because I was thinking that the Covishield, since the AstraZeneca vaccine is WHO pre-qualified and is in WHO list, the Covishield will also find its name in WHO list, but it is not in WHO list. So when our students and others go, they are now depending that Pfizer vaccine or something else will be available here. So when they go to United States and other places, what will they take? What will they take as a vaccine certificate? So some of the countries are bilaterally allowing that these two vaccines, if you take, we will allow. But we need to get our vaccines qualified, get into EMA list and US FDA list and other lists, so that our vaccine certificates are honored. So this will be very important, particularly for our student community.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Dr. Sherwal, your closing thoughts, sir?
Yes, we have to be basically get ready if there is any threat for the third wave, which being predicted. But I will say that more than that, waiting for that, we should always proactively try to avoid that, how we should take the all measures by way of which we can always avoid whether it is third wave or fourth wave. So for that, we have to be very active. Whatever measures need to be taken, we have to take it before, not after. Thank you.
And as they say, that prevention is better than cure. On that note, thank you so much for joining us, Professor Ganguly and Dr. Sherwal. Well, viewers, that's all we had for you in this edition of India Fights Back. But before that, let me remind you once again to stay safe from the coronavirus pandemic. Remember to wear a face mask and wash your hands and face regularly, and ensure that you maintain physical distancing whenever you're stepping outside. These simple precautions are all it takes to defeat this pandemic. Take very good care and goodbye.